Good morning from the slopes of Longs Peak. Beautiful sunrise behind me. Today we're going to be hiking Longs Peak via the Keyhole route, which is the standard route up Longs Peak. For a full hike review of Longs Peak via the Keyhole, you can check the link below. So if you're not familiar with my channel, I do hike reviews across Colorado, so please give that subscribe button some thought at some point during this video. Right now it's right before sunrise, as you can tell, and just over 3.5 miles into the hike. Beautiful sunrise here. This will be hopefully my 14er finisher. I had a failed attempt the last time we were up here, and we went in the loft basically like over this way. So today we're going to be going up the Keyhole instead. And the thought process around that is, number one, I don't want to fail on the loft again, but also just really looking to try something new here. So we'll back you up a bit since you haven't missed much since the sun has come up. And basically we've come down from here, and the trail split is right around there, and then you start right around somewhere down in there. It's been pretty steady elevation gain so far, but nothing crazy. Because Longs Peak is super prominent, which means basically that it's like the highest point by far in the area that it sits. So it can get really windy up here. And so check the forecast for it, just like you would any mountain, but be expected to change quickly. A lot of the times the wind forecast will look good earlier in the week. You'll check it, and then it just deteriorates. So key to kind of keep in mind. Obviously I'm decked out in a lot of gear. If you've never hiked a 14er, I wouldn't recommend Longs as your first. But if you're inexperienced, layers are super key, and don't let yourself start sweating, because once you're cold and the sweat gets wet, you're in a lot of trouble. Longs Peak is super popular, even though it is one of the tougher 14ers in the state. So get here early, especially during peak season. So that's usually like July, August, September weekends. The lot will fill up. It is part of Rocky Mountain National Park, but there is no fee to park here, which is very odd. They'd make a ton of money if they just put a fee. It's a lot less windy this time. If you watched my my last attempt, the winds were brutal, just terrible, and so far it's been a lot better, so definitely hoping to keep that up. And I've also learned a lot of lessons from that failure, so I'm packed to the T with warm weather gear. Might as well snow today. I'll be ready for it. Another quick note, the weather, once you basically get past like 2 miles of hiking, you're gonna cross like this bridge and a small creek. You're pretty much exposed to the elements the whole time. So especially during thunderstorm season, monsoon season here, be sure the weather's good. There's not a lot of places to get out of the weather, especially if it goes bad. Beautiful views up here this morning. First views of the summit of Longs Peak right there. This is Lady Washington Peak. This is Storm Peak. So we're going to continue up, and we're basically going to be skirting right in there, which is the Keyhole. This is close to the boulder field. I'll talk about camping a bit, I guess. There's really not a lot of good camping options for Longs Peak. They don't allow you to sleep in the trailhead. The land around the trailhead's private, so it's not a very good place to camp, and that's why it's kind of a tough mountain to get a start on without really not sleeping or coming here on a weekday, something lucky like that. You can camp up in the boulder field, and I'll show you what that looks like, but really you're lugging your gear 5+ miles just to camp 2 miles from the summit. Personally, it's not really worth it for me. In the boulder field now, privy there. Privy is a bathroom, non-plumbing, for all of you wondering. These are the campsites. They're not great. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe, I don't know, 5, 10 maybe. I'll give you a look inside of one here. But definitely have a sleeping pad. Something to protect you from the ground. They're not glorious, but this is your option to camp here. Next up, the trail kind of ends here. The keyhole right there. That's your next destination. Beautiful view here of the diamond as well. So Longs Peak is very unique. You can climb, rock climb that is, up this right here. Very, very popular. Working my way through the boulder field. Ton of loose rock, big and small, so be careful. Broken ankle city. Trail non-existent, but lots of cairns, so somewhat easy to follow some kind of a path. But getting close to the keyhole now. Just below the keyhole now. This is 13,000 feet. This is the keyhole. There is a shelter right here, so if things go really poorly for you, it's good to have. You can hear the wind, so I think it's going to be pretty windy on the other side. So I'm gonna stop in the little lodge up here, take a quick snack break, I think. Whew, nice in here. Shout out to Turkey Jerky by Perky Jerky. They're not sponsored, but it's just good, man. Just having a little snack here in the hut. At this point, you're a little over 13,000 feet. You have 1,200 feet to go. If you're tired, if you're injured, if you just don't want to keep going, turn around here. This is a great spot to do it. This is where the technical stuff starts. So there's 3 sections after this, and I'll show you every one, obviously. There is the ledges, which is what we'll have next. Basically just traversing some class 2 kind of narrowish stuff. Then you enter the trough. Trough is like rock face kind of scrambling deal. And then right before the summit, about 13.9 or so, you enter the narrows. And the narrows are a narrow section of hiking. Through the keyhole, give you some views. There's a westerly wind today, so it's coming from here. So I'm hoping once I kind of get to the trough up here, it'll be a bit better. Great thing, follow these puppies. Trail markers all the way to the summit. This section, as I said before, is known as the ledges. Kind of scary part about this so far, this freaking trail is so well traveled that the rock is like slick, not like icy, but like well traveled, worn out with foot traffic. Looking back where we came from on the ledges here and then where we're going, so if you follow these red and yellow markers, you're not going to get lost. There's even a sign right there. It's very well marked, but just in case, you're gonna go down a bit, kind of towards the snow field, and then go up the trough right there. Looking back on the ledges section, nothing terrible at all, minimal exposure. So from here, now you're gonna enter the trough, which is literally this little gully up in here. A more direct look at the trough. That's your exit point right in between there, right there. exiting the trough now, right out through there. Narrows are next. Here's a look down where we came from. So basically like right around there. These are the Narrows. Now this is a look at the initial move. On the way back it might be tricky, but really nothing too crazy. The rest of it seems pretty protected. Beautiful views. Decent exposure. It gets worse up here, but this is kind of what you're looking at here. Nothing too crazy. Beautiful, beautiful weather so far, and yeah, the Narrows are nothing really to write home about. Couple tough moves, I guess. Once you get kind of towards the end, so this is like this overhanging rock as perspective, you go on a jet up and you'll see these trail markers again, and right there, and then you're really in the home stretch, looking back on the Narrows, and just beautiful, beautiful views, beautiful day so far. So you might have noticed I put my gloves away, and the rock is pretty cold, but I really prefer to grip with my hands. That's what she said. But I just like skin on rock instead of cloth on rock. Gives you extra friction and one less layer of slipping to worry about. Man, this rock, super, super worn out. Just be careful. Not the most graceful. You will definitely not be able to see it. There's a mountain goat right there hanging out. So we rounded the corner from the Narrows, which is back that way, and then to the summit. It's literally right there, home stretch. Some more class 3 it looks like, and man, I couldn't be happier right now. Home stretch, baby. Home stretch. There's like 4 other people over there, so I want to go too crazy, but 14ers are completed. 58 down. Summit of Longs Peak. I'm so happy, but it's like super awkward because there's other people up here, so as much as I want to like scream and go crazy, that'd be pretty weird. But man, it's like Mother Nature really just gave me a perfect day today. After not yesterday's, the last attempt we had where it was just brutal. It's lovely up here. Barely any wind, sunshine, clear skies. I mean, it's just perfect. I'm ecstatic. Don't usually do beers at the summit, but I thought it'd be fitting to have my Summit Club beer from Outer Range here. So cheers to all of the 14ers done. So let's talk a little bit about just this trail and this route. Comparing it what I do know from the loft, I'd say it's pretty similar. God, I'm hiccuping, sorry. It's a lot of Class 3, which is cool. It's a pretty fun route, honestly. And it's like impossible to get lost on the thing. It's so well marked, it's like kind of stupid. But, you know, I'm pretty happy. So, yeah, we got to get down to the car first before the real celebration begins. But yeah, I'm ecstatic. I'm just like, I'm thrilled right now. Really, you can't really tell, but I'm pumped. So let's talk about something that everyone's gonna ask, and it's gonna be like ranking the 14ers. I'm gonna do a video about that eventually, but I just want to soak this in and you know, give you some summit views up here. Got Chasm Lake down there, looks mighty turquoise. And then you got Mount Meeker over there, which is a Centennial. Down from what I would consider the danger zone of this mountain. Obviously you got to be careful in this boulder field, but it's really, mental errors aside, should be smooth sailing back to the car. Yeah, I've been trying to think and put this in perspective. I mean, I guess I want to wrap this video up as concisely as I can, right? So, doing all the 14ers is great. You know, it's a great accomplishment regardless of how long it takes you, regardless of who you are. It's just a great way to explore the state, number one, which, you know, I'll touch on in a future video. But, you know, sitting here right behind this iconic keyhole, and you know, I think this is a good place to wrap up this video. So obviously you can't bring dogs on this route because, or this mountain, because it's in Rocky, which means it's a national park, which none of them in the United States at least allow dogs in most of the terrain. This was a fun route, honestly. I mean, I know it gets super crowded and can bottleneck really bad. The way down on the trough was a little sketchy. The conditions in there are only going to get worse over the years. I mean, it's going to become like a really loose gravel rock fall area. So just be careful with that. Use caution. I brought a helmet. I mean, for how much they weigh, it's why not, right? Yeah, I mean, beautiful views up here, and I think it's kind of fitting that I'm ending the 14ers by myself because I've done so many of them. I don't have exact count offhand, but 45 plus at least. So it's really kind of peaceful, and I enjoy doing that. So what's next? I don't know. I guess you'll have to subscribe to the channel to see. But yeah, I guess I'm going to wrap up this video here of Longs Peak via the Keyhole. For more information on this route, you can check the link below. If you've never seen my channel before, I do, you know, hikes all across Colorado and across the country when I'm able to. So please consider subscribing and not to miss any future content. I will do a video, like I mentioned earlier, talking about the 14ers in retrospect and kind of trying to rank them in my opinion. But for now, let's just enjoy the day. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.